Hello everybody, thanks for joining us today. I am Stacey Coote, a partner at Coote O'Grady. We are a legal spend management company. Today, given everybody is likely focused on savings at the moment in the current environment, we thought it would be useful to revisit a project that we won an award for with the Buying Legal Council last year. As you can see, we were actually runner-up in the process improvement award area. This was for a project with a Fortune 100 automotive client. Essentially in 10 weeks we saved the client 33% on its external legal spend, which is around 3 million US dollars. So the client brief. The client was very much tied to its existing law firms due to the complex nature of work that these firms were performing, but the legal team were under huge pressure from the finance team to reduce their spend. The team and the general counsel had tried to negotiate better discounts, etc. with their firms, but hadn't had much success. So they handed essentially the project over to us to try and deliver some savings for them. One of the key things was, as I said, that it was long-standing existing relationships with the law firms, and they didn't want those relationships to be damaged, and that's why they brought our organisation in. So what we achieved. So we achieved 33%, around 3 million US dollars in just 10 weeks. We also got value-added services access for the client, so a number of technology apps and free secondments from the law firms as well. And we put a structured process in place around the engagement of law firms moving forward for the first time as well. Our strategy, so it was really broken into two phases. Review the existing legal spend, and then work with the client to make sure that they were comfortable with phase two, which was essentially a partner-led negotiation on the top spending law firms in conjunction with a legal invoice review exercise to identify opportunities. Implementation. So the client needed these savings quickly, so we had a Prince 2 qualified project management practitioner who's also a solicitor work with the team to make sure that we delivered the results that we needed to. We did some initial benchmarking across a number of countries. We formalised processes around billing guidelines and engagement terms, and also worked with the client and the firms around a lot of age debt that existed. We negotiated with the top 3 firms an agreed rate card and proper terms of engagement and billing guidelines, as well as setting up a value-added services program, and we reviewed over 2,000 line items of invoice data to look at what some of the issues were with historic invoices. We also worked on a success fee basis, and this meant that the client could trust us to deliver results, and we continue to work with them now. So the results were that all 3 firms accepted the new terms and conditions, agreed discounts, and discounted hourly rates. And discounts on their invoices, I should say. So some of the invoices, there were some poor billing practices going on, so we negotiated with the firms on those, as well as negotiating discounts for future invoices. We put a program in place of value-added services that I mentioned already that delivered over $600,000 in benefits. We dealt with the age debt, and all of this was done with no work for the in-house legal team, which was a big objective of the team because they had so much work going on. They didn't really want to be involved in this process. So, given the current environment, we thought it'd be useful to give some top tips on how to optimise your spend or budget in 2020, maybe into 2021 at this point. Firstly, negotiate with your firms. Know your industry and how your rates compare to similar organisations. Review your invoices effectively to make sure that there aren't bad billing practices happening. Consider the efficiency of your current legal spend management processes and whether there's more that needs to be done there. And are you achieving value-added services from your firms? And if not, then look to put some sort of program in place around that. From the negotiations, the things we learned were that a lot of law firms now have got pricing specialists. So while it's quite difficult to have conversations with people you're working with on a day-to-day basis, by talking to the pricing specialist, this makes it a little easier for clients. Clients are often afraid to negotiate with their firms, but actually it's a lot easier with these pricing specialists being in place now, because it takes it away from the day-to-day relationship. The negotiations are often seen as time-consuming, and in truth they can be, but if you've got the right level of expertise, it can be carried out very quickly, and I think that's where expertise is key. And for any procurement folks listening to this webinar, I think it's important to know that buying legal isn't like buying other areas, and you really need to have expertise in the category to achieve best value for money. Legal invoice review. There's lots of savings that can be made through legal invoice review. There's a lot of misbilling, unfortunately. We think that a lawyer supervised review is much better than system-led solutions, and the savings, we've seen anything up to 26% on certain invoices where there's some really bad practices, but it's very quick and easy to implement. We've put invoice review processes in place within 24 hours for clients, so I definitely think it's an area to look at when you're focused on savings. Processes, the things we've learned, definitive guidelines are really important. Firms need to know what they can and can't bill for, and it needs to be agreed on both sides so that there's not debates over this, and there needs to be structure around it, because if you get into this situation of debating over every invoice, this is when the aged debt builds up, and then the firms can get quite frustrated at the level of aged debt. The structured approach around legal spend management or legal operations for budgeting and invoice management really does make sure that the firms get paid when they should be paid for the work that they've carried out for you. But you need processes, and you need to communicate those processes. Value-added services, I think the biggest learning is don't be afraid to ask. A lot of law firms are happy to provide value-added services, but a lot of clients don't ask for them. You need to think as well about what's valuable for you, and ask for the things that are actually valuable for you. So that's all about our reward. If you'd like to talk to us further about how we can help you with your legal spend, we'd be delighted to talk to you. There's our contact details there. And as I say, we do hope to hear from you, but good luck in managing your legal spend. Thank you for listening.